Hello, Orchard Archivers. In this episode, Cooper and I are going back to revisit a very special entry from our recent retro past. We're always up for reminiscing about all things nostalgia. Back then, TV for young people oftentimes was better, educational, and entertaining. It brought back some great memories. So take a moment and think back. Just like when you'd finally arrive home, fresh off from a long day at school, it's time to grab your snacks and settle in. Let's head off into our Orchard Retro Trek this week on ABC Afterschool Specials. Talk about nostalgia. So, Coop, when you think of fond nostalgia, no doubt you'll agree that hands down that the 70s and 80s had a treasure trove of awesome anthology series. ABC After School Specials were occasional educational shows broadcast in the afternoons.
Yes, these after school specials were very nostalgic and full of that 70s, 80s essence.
Mm-hmm.
As television program broadcasts in the mid to late afternoon, the content favorably pointed towards adolescent and usual dealings with, controversial or social relevant issues.
Mm-hmm.
Um, each episode was pointed, showcasing intriguing scenarios that so often hit home and made you really think.
That's right, Cooper. Of course, any tween of the 70s or 80s remembers the ABC After School Specials, those TV movies drenched in melodrama, morals, hormones, and occasionally unintentional humor.
Yes.
So no topic was too taboo, though. For the many young viewers tuning in, it might have been their first exposure to a difficult topic or the first indication that they weren't alone in their struggle.
Yeah, yeah. And the times were very different back then.
Mm-hmm.
Since we have become adults, we realize that back then things weren't so bad.
Amen.
Yeah, we'll take a couple doses of those things. Do overs, no problem.
That's right.
I think that every generation's youth feels, that their coming up is harder than the ones before theirs. And my memory of the ABC After School Specials and how vital a program of that nature was at the time. Something very special, something I hold dear and cherish.
Mm-hmm.
And my memories of the ABC After School Specials really had a tailored feel about them, something made especially for us.
Oh, you state the truth on that. When we were younger, we watched these ABC after school specials regularly, as often as we could after school, and we so enjoyed them. So, even though I didn't realize that after all these years later, I would recall not only watching them, but all these years later, feel the impact of these shows and appreciate their invaluable message.
Your creative execs held nothing back. Every situation depicted was really the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing was hidden or whitewashed or censored the way that situations would be today.
Uh huh.
The 70s really did let it all hang out again.
Yeah.
Some episodes are sad, others are great. It was a deep dive about current issues that the kids may be learning about or dealing with in school, family topics, friends, and so forth. And as we said before, even though their target audience was in the younger demographic, no topic was taboo.
They were gutsy.
Yeah.
That's for certain. Being the sheltered kids that we were back then, needless to say, our mom heavily monitored what we watched anyway, but ABC After School Specials was of no exception.
Yeah. Fun fact ABC After School Specials was an immediate hit. drawing an average of 9.4 million viewers between the years 1972 and 74. That's a lot of young viewers.
Truly, wow.
Hmm.
ABC Afterschool Specials aired for more than 20 years, providing a monthly dose of drama to preteens and teens during the school year in the hours after school, right before dinner.
Yeah.
The specials were mini TV movies that explored the angst and problems that real kids experienced. And they were a little morality play that, while not being preachy, showcased that actions have consequences.
ABC After School Specials definitely goes down as a most pivotal show that was woven into the cultural fabric of our formative years. A fact that many a Gen Xer, Xennial, and goodness, even some boomers can really relate to back then. The ABC After School Specials is inarguably one of those shows.
And of course, this is coming from a major network, that of ABC. Um, I realize that the other networks maybe had a version of an after school special offering or some special programming like this
Mhm.
for young people, but I don't really remember those standing out as much as these.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the preferred ones of our memory, so.
Yeah. We had the unique privilege of actually living in this particular era in real time. It was such an interesting time, too, because we may think of past acquaintances we attended school with, that coming of age time that ushered in so many of the key issues that tapped young people, our peers on the shoulder regularly.
Oh, yeah.
And some of those deep situations would no doubt cause excessive worry because, just processing that some of these issues were happening to some of our acquaintances and peers from school, like it would actually cause bouts of anxiety.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Everything did have a tendency to cause worry because that's just drama, teenage drama, and young drama too. And not a good feeling at all. But there were good, feel good educational episodes as well. So it balanced out fairly well.
We mentioned the different generations that may remember, well, ABC After School Specials. But we mentioned briefly the boomers a second ago, though. So, you think about, the boomers, like, this was probably key in their coming up because I think boomers would have been in that mid to late teenage phase,
Mm,
the about to launch into the adult phase where these deep types of issues would have affected them most.
yeah.
And these classic special presentations, I'm sure, were very pivotal during those unsure, unfamiliar times in their lives.
Yeah. Well stated, Kennedy. So, fun fact, ABC After School Specials then became the ABC staple for over 25 years,
Hmm.
producing, get this, 154 episodes.
That's a lot of shows.
Yes, you think about it, the kid lives through that period and then they move on. And then, the next set of kids are joining in, and you start to forget about it, because it doesn't seem to apply to you anymore. You move on as you get older in life, you don't even think about it. And it's still affecting other generations. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
25 years, you got an adult now. Someone was born and now they're an adult. Time frame.
25. No.
So the series, which appeared on weekdays, I believe it was Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons, ran on the ABC network on October 14th of 1972 to the final run of the series on July 1st, 1997.
Hmm.
And ABC After School Specials was aimed at latchkey kids who had to fend for themselves after school.
Okay, so this is too true, Cooper.
Mhm.
I mean, it is understood that rather than treat the captive demographic solely to escapist fantasies, creative execs and the head of children's entertainment at the ABC network decided to address the kids with some of the offerings on social issues, teenage problems, dangers of drugs and alcohol, teen parenting, first love, parents getting a divorce, and other things.
Mm.
that would affect the social and emotional mental state of youth back during that time.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking like the middle school, junior high, high school experience.
Yeah. And since the majority of the audience were older kids, as we've stated, that wasn't the only ones tuning in.
Hmm.
Preteens that were in middle school or thereabouts were also tuning into the show.
That was us.
Yes. Since they weren't getting enough attention from their parents due to having to work or care for other life issues, these latchkey kids tuned in and got quite the education on what life was willing to open doors of mystery and wonder to this demographic.
Very, very interesting. So let's now focus our attention on the early specials that were produced by Martin Tans from the years 1974 through 1977. This was a little before our time watching ABC Afterschool Specials. We were definitely a few years down the line in tuning into this, but it was some of the best work done concerning the series, which we had gone back and watched in the earlier episodes. So these episodes were shot on location in like a shadowy, grainy style put together, but in all this was the best of the specials that came out during that time.
And though these earlier episodes lacked the topical viewpoints that later on defined ABC After School Specials involving its serious issues, it ignited a hotbed of discussion and controversy back then. And some of the episodes of a deeper nature brought more anxiety on behalf of the audience.
Great, just what we needed, more
Mhm.
anxiety. I do remember feeling that sometimes because, like that was almost like another world away, like all these people were dealing with this, and
Yes.
you were scared and concerned with them. I do remember that feeling. So some of the episodes that comes to mind are timeless classics like Psst, Hammerman's After You from 1974. Um, this one's where a young boy is bullied in school by his peers and learns to not fight back, but stands his ground in confronting the situation, taking the high road.
Mm.
Then there's other episodes that dealt with absent or complete catatonic type parents when it came to properly mentoring their kids concerning motivation in life and, you got distracted or compromised mothers or fathers, that was sprinkled all throughout the offerings of many ABC after school specials.
Mm. Oh, yeah. I remember the episodes highlighting the onslaught of careless, disturbed, and neglectful parents.
There was a lot of those.
Right? That right there was the very backbone of some of the specials that focused on lessons of responsibility and such.
Hmm.
An example of this plays out in the episode Francesca, Baby, from 1976, where teenager Francesca deals with her alcoholic mother, Lillian, by joining the support group Alateen. Another memorable one dealt with children in foster care in the Pinballs from 1977. And there, Seven Wishes of a Rich Kid in 1979 about a wealthy but lonely boy granted seven wishes by a genie. The boy uses them in an effort to impress his puppy crush, the most popular girl in his school. But things don't work out the way he anticipated.
Oh,
Yeah, these ABC after school specials really had some pretty good storylines that drew the audience in.
that last one actually, the puppy crush, the girl that he was after, that was oh, what's her name? It's Cynthia Nixon, the one from Sex and the City.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I can't even think of her name in Sex and the City. It was her real name, Cynthia Nixon. Okay, whatever.
She wasn't Charlotte, right?
No, that was the one with long dark hair. I can't think of her name. It's been a while since I've seen those. Shame on me. Anyway, back to the specials. Mr. Martin Tans, he left the series in 1977. The episodes went darker and deeper into their subject matter over the years, then into the next decade as it progressed. So, subjects ranging from childcare, teenage motherhood, or parenting in general, abuse, teenage crime. Well, fail not to mention, now this is darker, like rape and sexual abuse.
Mm.
Those topics were hinted at, but thankfully they were kept at a minimum, but vaguely discussed in some of the segments. So, like, they touched it, but didn't go the full distance, thankfully. So,
Yeah, yeah.
well, we got the picture though.
Yeah, yeah, because it's like this is still for children, right?
Yes, those preteens are watching.
Yeah, it's like, are you going to put the thing only for mature audiences? It's like, well, then you can't show kids. I don't know. Anyway, so ABC After School Specials brought a lot, and I do mean a lot, of great talent to the series,
Mhm.
especially with some of the actors that were involved, who at the time made their mark on this show.
Mhm.
Names such as Melissa Sue Anderson, Jodie Foster, Christy McNichol. That is such an 80s, 70s, 80s name right there.
It is
Scott Baio.
another one.
Yes. Carol Jones. Todd Bridges.
What you talking about, Willis?
And these low budget educational films provided a showcase for budding actors that became regulars at making common appearances. And for many, it was one of their first jobs in the industry. And for others, it was their way of contributing to the community. ABC After School Specials, as an anthology show, features young, up and coming actors at that time. Most have gone on to bigger and better things, even becoming household names.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now, back to the show. Coop, by the mid 80s, ABC After School Specials attempted to strike more of a balance between morality plays and lighthearted fare. The 1984-1985 season consisted of 7 episodes, including 3 comedies and 1 musical. In the Almost Royal Family, I remember this one. Another Sex and the City alum, Sarah Jessica Parker, stars as a team whose family buys a home outside the jurisdiction of Canada and the United States. In Moms on Strike, an overworked mother decides to suspend her duties until her family can appreciate her contributions, but gradually the specials begin leaning back toward hot button topics.
So ABC After School Specials also added to our cultural lexicon. Whenever someone is getting overly dramatic or sentimental, aka facetious, how often do you hear a response like, "This isn't an after school special"?
Don't be extra drama.
The ABC After School Specials will always hold a special place in my heart, right along with ultra cool yet memorable PSAs like Schoolhouse Rock.
Me too, Coop. Oh my goodness, I used to enjoy the old PSAs and that accompanied these shows.
Right? Watching ABC After School Specials were such a good time.
Oh my goodness, that's a blast back. Talking about ABC After School Specials this week really does take us back.
Mhm.
But one of the best parts of the fond memories delivered in all this is the familiarity etched into our brains, which blazes really strong at the moment, and how, I love and remember the gumball machine intro.
Yes,
Do you remember that?
absolutely.
Yeah. So, like the older version, you can see it, the original version. Talk about nostalgia.
Yes.
I mean, it's very 70s and it sounded so kid specific. Like the minute you hear it, oh my gosh, it was like it just instantaneously takes you back to that time, and I don't know, it's crazy. I can see it and hear it. But then they updated it in the 80s, I think. I think it was like in, was it 84, 85?
Mm,
And it still has that gumball machine. And it had that very 80s sound with its musical theme and score. So I don't know, they held true to the whole concept to keep it for young people, you know?
absolutely.
But, you know, that updated sound too, it didn't lose its flair. It made you excited and you just couldn't wait to see what adventure you were going to watch next.
Kennard, I too absolutely love those intros, just so you know. Talk about something taking you back. Wow. That
Yeah.
is the trademark of these. As they appeared once a month, if I can remember correctly, that's what truly made them special. We greatly looked forward to them, with great writing, acting, plus showing a relatable message week in and week out. ABC After School Specials always had an important message to tell.
Mhm.
Like what we discussed prior, like child abuse, bullying, drinking, etc. There was always a message to tell.
Oh, yeah. And kids nowadays are missing out on that nostalgic flavor in which we grew up with.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know about you, Cooper, but I would not trade our childhood for anything versus what kids and young adults have to deal with now.
No.
Yeah, it's far different. And I think that it's a travesty that a program of such high impact has been replaced with the mindless, even absent entertainment currently. Um, they really are missing out, I believe.
Yeah.
I wish that the ABC After School Specials, that, that era, I wish that was back.
Yeah.
The younger generation currently, they're really missing out. I mean, they just don't have the same bond. I don't know how to really describe it. It's just it's absent.
They don't seem to be able to be kids.
No, that's it. I mean, like these aren't strong topics here with baked in the ABC After School Specials, but they were still talking to kids.
Right.
And be careful. You might
Yeah.
want to watch your steps. Decisions have consequences.
Yes.
And now kids are like, okay, next. Like they're bored with life. They're already grown half the time. They're doing any and everything, whatever.
Right.
So sad. Um, and then like what they see, like their offerings is stale reality TV shows. They're gamers. They have video games, which there's nothing wrong with any of that. It's just all kind of blurry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they got social media. That's their social life. That is how they talk and communicate and see the world. They don't travel like that. They travel on social media. And obviously we're just making the contrast. So these kids aren't complaining now. They like it.
Yeah.
But back to my humble opinion, I think they're missing out.
I agree. Whenever I get overcome with the dreck on the current offerings on television nowadays, I always get nostalgic for ABC After School Specials and the likes of other nostalgic offerings and, the satisfying retro gems from back in the day. Oh
Yeah.
my god. Fun fact. Did you know that in 1993, TV Guide named ABC After School Specials the best kids show of the 80s?
Ah.
That would have been a hard thing to come by because there was so much out there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they were probably like, thank you.
And also a good problem to have back then.
Exactly. So, and also each collection contained 4 episodes and produced by Martin Tans, came out with 6 DVD releases. And these box sets were in the fitting shape of a school bus. Pretty cool, huh?
That is wild. I'd like to actually see one of those.
Yeah, you could put that in a time capsule one day, maybe.
You really could. That's cute.
Yeah, cool idea.
But it's special touches such as this that made so much of the retro entertainment back then feel like it was especially made for us,
Mhm.
the youth at that time. So ABC After School Specials is no different. It was a timely anthology series made just for us. School bus shaped box sets, Coop. That is so incredibly nostalgic and appropriate.
I agree. So we're nearing the end of our episode this week, but we're going on and on about how much we enjoyed ABC After School Specials. So our next question is, whatever happened to this great retro success?
Well, gradually, ABC Afterschool Specials lost its footing in the wake of fresher, innovative shows that had been successful at replacing this endearing series that once was adolescent bent. More hot button topics for its time. Eventually, the series was canceled officially in 1997.
Yes, and the series came to an end as Oprah Winfrey took over the time slot on many stations in the early 90s.
Oprah!
That was ugly. And remember, she came on at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
So, fun fact, did you know that Oprah Winfrey's Harpo Productions took over producing the ABC After School Special series in 1991?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting that the show endured for nearly a quarter of a century. That is a testament to the craftsmanship of producers like Martin Tans and support of ABC Network. Rarely shied away from difficult topics.
Yes, and Mr. Tans believed that the series brought mass appeal that went above and beyond that. He is quoted as saying, and I quote, "The only rule of storytelling that ABC required we follow was the kid always had to figure out what to do and to do it." He said, "No finger waving by parents, no lectures by parents. It was a kid who was in a situation and found, through his or her own efforts, a solution." End quote.
Hmm.
So Martin Tan sadly passed away in 2014.
That is sad news.
Mm-hmm.
ABC After School Specials brought a lot, and I do mean a lot, of great memories back to us and hopefully to our Orchard archivers this week. Why? Because nostalgia is a powerful feeling. It takes us back to a much better time for many of us, really. And we relive memories, emotions, and experiences that make our life what it is today. Like a trip or retro trek, if you will, through time that we can truly enjoy. This was really a lot of fun to cover this week, Kennedy.
Yeah.
What a treat it's been.
It sure has. And even talking about these magical intros, oh,
Hmm.
nostalgia has incredible power over people, and it's a social connectedness phenomenon that became a very healthy pro-social emotion. But nostalgia too can also be bittersweet.
Hmm.
It's sweet because we're remembering some of the favorite times in our lives, but the bitterness comes from the sense that we know for sure that we can never really again regain, replace, or recapture them except for now by streaming or on social media, which we're really glad and grateful for. So,
Yes, yes, we are. You are so right, Kennedy. As Gen Xers, we were privileged to exist during a most interesting time. Hot button topics like bullying, drinking, teenage angst, all wrapped up in this enthralling anthology series, which, with great vision, writing, and acting, ABC After School Specials always gave us the most nostalgic offerings as a solution for coming of age lessons learned, as well as great entertainment that played out for decades, all wrapped up nicely with a message to tell.
a tale as old as time, that's clearly what this series was designed to do. ABC After School Specials were absolutely the best.
Loved what you heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. To tune into future treks and to the Orchard archives, meet up with us here next week. Same time, same place at the sweet spot. And it would mean the world to us if you could leave us a shining review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and explore more iconic memories. Thank you.